So as I'm finishing up my morning coffee, I'd have a couple of thoughts about onboarding new people into a team. So whether you are the new person coming into a team or you're the person with experience onboarding that new person coming onto the team, it can be pretty stressful for a whole lot of reasons. But there's a couple of things that we can do to make it easier for both folks. So first, for the people that are onboarding new people into the group. So remember a couple of critical things. First, industry-specific terminology, acronyms, phraseology. These are things that are likely to be new. It's super important that you don't assume that the person you're onboarding understands or even knows all of these terms, regardless of whether or not they come from this industry. So first and foremost, drop acronyms, or at least for the onboarding period, define every acronym multiple times. So as an example, IC means individual contributor. POS might mean point of sale. So it's important to just remember that every time you're bringing up an acronym or an industry-specific term or phrase, that you're defining it very clearly to the individual that you're onboarding. Second is ask a lot of questions of them. And I don't mean questions that are re-interviewing them, but ask them questions like, was that clear? Could I have defined that better? Did everything I mention resonate true for you, or would you like me to go back and go over it again? I know that not everybody learns the same way, so is there another way in which I can convey this information so that it helps you better understand it? Things like that are really helpful. Now, as the person being onboarded, you have a similar kind of responsibility, but mostly you have to think and advocate for yourself, which can be really hard. But at the end of the day, it is your responsibility. So it's important that you let the person that is onboarding you know when you don't know something or when you don't understand a term that's being shared. A quick and simple way to address this in a non-combative manner is take a notebook and carry it with you throughout the entire onboarding process. So if it's a day, a week, a month, it doesn't matter. Get a notebook and call it your onboarding notebook. Have a page that writes down every term or acronym as you are receiving it. So the ones that you do understand, you're writing it down and defining it. For the ones that you don't, you can put a little question mark next to, and then at the end of a week or at the end of the onboarding period, whatever makes the most sense, you can review that with the person that went through their onboarding with you. Hey, this is a term I'm not the most familiar with. Can you define that real quick for me? Oh, got it. I'm familiar with that. Or you kept saying this one phrase, but that didn't make all the sense in the world to me. Can you explain that to me? That's a really great way to address that. And you can use your notebook as a reference point for all of that different terminology. Not to mention, generally speaking, good organizations and teams are going to reward you for taking good notes. So even if you're a little afraid that exposing what you don't know might somehow be negative marks against you, which it shouldn't, but if you're afraid that that's true, just know that you're kind of making up for it by having a notebook that's keeping all those things around. Adding to that is one day you may be the person that's onboarding a new person. And so because of that, you can reference back to your onboarding notebook and make sure that you're clearly defining those terms that didn't make sense to you up front either. All right, there's a couple of quick tidbits. Hope that helps.